This man is called Telesforo Mikiu, a teacher at a university in Equatorial Guinea. His wife is a prominent doctor, but she betrayed him by sleeping with Baltasar in Gonga, and a video of their affair was recorded. This man later found the video, which caused him a great deal of pain, leading him to expel his wife and send her back to her parents. Listen to how he explains it.
As a university professor in Malabo, Equatorial Guinea, I had built my life around knowledge, discipline, and respect. My wife, Dr. Maria, was a respected doctor admired for her intelligence and dedication to her patients. To the outside world, we were the perfect couple, educated, accomplished, and deeply in love. Also, I thought. One evening, after a long day of lecturing, I sat in my study, sipping a cup of coffee while preparing for my next lecture. My phone buzzed. It was a message from an unknown number. Attached was a video. Curious but unsuspecting, I opened it. What I saw next sent a cold shiver down my spine. My wife, my Maria, was in bed with another man. But not just any man. It was Baltasar in Ganga, a name whispered in every corner of the city, a man known for his insatiable appetite for women. He had seduced over 200 women, leaving a trail of broken hearts and shattered marriages. And now, my wife was one of them. I sat frozen, my heart pounding like a drum. My hands trembled as I replayed the video, hoping, praying that my eyes had deceived me. But the truth was undeniable. My wife, the woman I had loved and trusted, had betrayed me in the worst possible way. Anger, humiliation, and sorrow clashed inside me like a raging storm. How could she do this? How long had this been going on? And why, of all people, did she choose him? That night, I confronted her. As she walked into the house, I stood in the living room, phone in hand. I played the video without saying a word. The color drained from her face. Is this you? My voice was calm, but inside, I was boiling. She stammered, searching for words. It's not what it looks like, she whispered. I laughed bitterly. Not what it looks like. You're in his bed. How many times, Maria? How many times have you humiliated me like this? Tears welled in her eyes, but I felt nothing. No sympathy. No mercy. The woman I once adored was now a stranger. That night, I packed my things. We are done, I said firmly. There is no marriage left to save. She sobbed, begged, but it was too late. The damage was irreversible. As I walked out of that house, I left behind not just a cheating wife, but a part of myself, the man who once believed in love, trust, and loyalty. From that moment on, I was no longer just a university professor. I was a man who had learned, in the most painful way, that even the strongest hearts can be broken. The door closed behind me with a finality that echoed in my soul. The streets of Malabo felt different that night, quieter, colder. I drove aimlessly, my mind replaying everything. The laughter we shared, the nights we stayed up talking about the future, the way she once looked at me with love. It was all a lie. I checked into a small hotel near the university. Sleep refused to come. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw them together. The betrayal burned like a fresh wound, and no matter how much I wanted to, I couldn't erase it. The next morning, I took leave from work. I needed time to process, to grieve, to decide what came next. The news of my separation spread quickly. Some colleagues offered sympathy, others whispered behind my back. But the worst part, the stares, the pity, the unspoken question in their eyes, how does a man like him get betrayed by his wife? I avoided social gatherings, ignored my phone, and threw myself into my work. Teaching had always been my passion, and now it became my escape. My students didn't know what had happened, but they sensed something was different. The once lively, passionate professor now spoke with a heaviness in his voice, his jokes less frequent, his eyes carrying a sadness he couldn't hide. As for Maria, she tried reaching out. Messages, calls, even visiting my office. She claimed it was a mistake, a moment of weakness. But how could it be a mistake when she had been with a man known for seducing hundreds of women? The divorce was inevitable. I refused any negotiations or second chances. I signed the papers without hesitation, cutting off the last thread that connected us. One evening, as I sat at a cafe, an old friend joined me. After some silence, he finally spoke. "You know, you're not the only one, right?" I looked up. "What do you mean?" "Baltasar in Ganga. He's done this before. Many times. It's like a game to him. He targets married women, especially those with powerful husbands. He enjoys the thrill of breaking homes." I clenched my jaw. And my wife was just another number to him. My friend sighed. "Unfortunately, yes. I thought about confronting him. I imagined walking up to him, looking him in the eye, demanding answers. But what would it change? He wasn't the one who vowed loyalty to me. That was Maria. And she had broken that vow willingly. Months passed. The pain dulled, but the scar remained. I focused on my career, took up new research projects, then traveled for conferences. The world was vast, and I refused to let one betrayal define me. One day, as I was walking through campus, a student approached me hesitantly. "Professor, I just wanted to say, you inspire us. Even when life knocks you down, you keep going." I smiled for the first time in weeks. Maybe that was the lesson in all this. Life is unpredictable. People will betray you. Love will fail you. But as long as you keep going, you win. And so, I did. The day I decided to send Maria away was the day I reclaimed my dignity. I had spent weeks wrestling with anger, pain, and humiliation, but in the end, one thing was clear: I could never trust her again. She had made her choice when she laid with Baltasar in Ganga. Now, I was making mine. I arrived home that evening with a firm decision in my heart. The children were playing in the living room, their laughter filling the air. They had no idea their mother had betrayed our family. And I refused to let them grow up watching a broken marriage poisoned by infidelity. Maria sat on the couch, eyes swollen from crying. She had been trying to reach me, pleading for another chance, but I had ignored every message. Tonight, there would be no more begging. "Pack your things," I said, my voice cold and steady. She looked up, startled. "What? You heard me. You're leaving. I'm sending you to your parents." Tears filled her eyes. "Please, don't do this. I made a mistake, but we can fix this." I clenched my jaw. "A mistake?" I scoffed. "You weren't drunk. You weren't tricked. You chose to betray me. And not just with anyone, with him. A man known for destroying families." She reached for my hand, but I pulled away. "Think about the children," she whispered. "I am thinking about them," I said. "That's why you're leaving, and they're staying with me. I won't let them grow up seeing their father as a fool. I won't let them learn that betrayal has no consequences." Her sobs grew louder, but I remained unmoved. I called her parents that night. They were ashamed, humiliated by what their daughter had done. But they understood. Her father, a man of strict principles, simply sighed and said, "Send her home." The next morning, I packed her bags. She tried one last time to change my mind, pleading for forgiveness. But forgiveness doesn't erase betrayal. It doesn't undo the image of my wife in another man's bed. When the car came to take her to the airport, the children asked where she was going. I knelt beside them, choosing my words carefully. "Mommy made a mistake," I said gently. "She needs time to think about it. But you'll always have me, and I'll always take care of you." They were too young to understand, but they nodded. As Maria stood at the door, a suitcase in hand, she whispered, "One day, you'll regret this." I looked at her, my heart hardened. "No," I said. "One day, if you will." She stepped into the car, and just like that, she was gone. The house felt lighter without her presence. The weight of betrayal slowly lifted. I devoted myself to my children, ensuring they never felt the absence of their mother. I became their rock, their protector. Some nights, the pain crept in. The memories, the love we once shared, the family we had built. But I reminded myself, love without loyalty is nothing. And I refused to hold on to nothing. Maria was gone. And I was finally free. After 3 weeks at her parents' house, Maria sent me a video explaining how she started sleeping with Baltasar in Ganga. She also asked for forgiveness, telling me to give her another chance so she could return home and stay close to our children.
I never thought I would destroy my own home. I never imagined that one day, I would be sitting here, in my childhood bedroom at my parents' house, exiled from my own family, my children, and the man I once vowed to love forever. But I did this to myself. And now, I am left with nothing but regret. It has been 3 weeks since my husband found out the truth, 3 weeks since he saw the video of me in bed with Baltasar in Ganga, the man known for ruining marriages, the man whose name alone carries a curse. And I, foolishly, became another name on his list. It wasn't supposed to happen. I told myself that 1,000 times. It started with harmless conversations, a little flirtation, attention that I didn't realize I was craving. Baltasar had a way with words, an intoxicating charm that made me feel wanted, desired. I ignored the whispers about him, the warnings, the rumors that he had been with over 200 women, that he thrived on destroying families. Then, one mistake turned into another. One night became 2, then 3, until I was trapped in an affair I couldn't escape. I knew it was wrong. Every time I looked at my husband, every time I tucked my children into bed, I felt the guilt eating me alive. And yet, I didn't stop. I thought I could keep it a secret. I thought I would never get caught. The night my husband confronted me is one I will never forget. I walked into our home expecting another ordinary evening, only to find him standing there, his face pale, his eyes dark with anger and pain. He held up his phone, pressed play. And there it was, the evidence of my betrayal, playing right in front of me. My breath caught in my throat. My hands trembled. The world around me blurred as I watched the man I loved see me for who I had become, a liar, a traitor, a woman who had destroyed her own family. "Is this you?" His voice was low, controlled, but I could hear the storm behind it. I couldn't speak. I wanted to deny it, to explain, to beg, but what could I say? The truth was right there. "You disgust me," he said finally, his voice breaking. "Pack your things. You're leaving tonight." I begged him. I dropped to my knees, sobbing, pleading for another chance. But he was unmoved. "You chose him," he said coldly. "Now, live with that choice." He called my parents, told them everything. They were ashamed, humiliated, but they agreed to take me in. That night, I left my home, the home I built with my husband, the home where my children slept, because of a mistake I could never undo. I cried myself to sleep for nights, haunted by the silence of my children's voices, by the emptiness where my husband's warmth used to be. 3 weeks later, I couldn't take it anymore. I needed to speak to him. I needed to apologize, to tell him the truth of how it all happened. So, I recorded a video. Tears streamed down my face as I spoke. "My love, my husband. I don't know if you'll ever forgive me, but I need to try. I made the biggest mistake of my life, and I have no excuse. I was weak. I was selfish. I let a man like Baltasar in Ganga ruin our marriage, and I will regret it for the rest of my life." I paused, wiping my eyes, my voice breaking. "I don't deserve another chance, I know that. But I can't live without my children. I can't live knowing that I destroyed our family and didn't even try to fix it. Please, let me come home. Let me be near them. I will accept whatever punishment you give me, but don't take them away from me." I ended the video with one final plea.
You were a good husband, a faithful man, and I repaid you with betrayal. But if there's even a small piece of your heart that can still see the woman I used to be, the woman who loved you before she lost her way, please let me come back. I hit send. And then, I waited. I didn't know if he would ever respond. I didn't know if he would ever forgive me. But I knew one thing, I would never stop trying to make it right. Because losing him, losing my children, was a pain I could never bear again. My love. I don't know if you will ever read this, if you will ever hear my words, or if your heart has already closed itself to me forever. But I have to try. I have to keep trying because losing you and our children has broken me in a way I never imagined possible. Every day since you sent me away, I wake up with a heavy heart, realizing that I destroyed the most precious thing in my life, our family. I feel the emptiness of our home, the absence of your voice, the distance of our children who once ran into my arms with laughter. And it is all my fault. I betrayed you. I humiliated you. I made you feel like a fool in front of the world, and I don't know if I can ever repair the damage I have done. But please, my love, if there is even the smallest part of you that still remembers the woman I was before I lost my way, let me come back. Not for my sake, but for our children. I know that no words can erase what I did. I know that no apology can undo the pain I caused. But I need you to know that there was never a day, never a moment when I stopped loving you. My mistake was not because I lacked love for you, it was because I lost sight of what truly mattered. I let temptation lead me astray. I let a man like Baltasar in Gonga, a man who destroys families for pleasure, fool me into thinking I was special. But in the end, I was nothing more than another number to him. You, my husband, were the only man who ever truly loved me. And I threw that love away. I cannot take back what I did. I cannot erase the pain, the humiliation, the betrayal. But I can promise you, with every fiber of my being, that if you find it in your heart to let me come back, I will spend the rest of my life proving to you that I will never make that mistake again. If you cannot find it in your heart to forgive me as your wife, I understand. But please, don't take our children away from me. Let me be their mother. Let me be close to them, even if you never look at me the same way again. I miss them, my love. I miss their laughter, their little voices calling me Mama. I miss the way our family used to be. I know I don't deserve an easy road back into your heart. I know you may never trust me again. But if you let me return, I will accept any conditions you give me. I will do whatever it takes to earn back even the smallest fraction of your trust. If you want me to sleep in a separate room, I will. If you want me to stay in the house only for the sake of our children, I will. If you want me to prove my loyalty every single day for the rest of my life, I will. Because I know now, more than ever, that nothing matters more than our family. And I will do anything to repair what I have broken. Please, my love. Don't shut me out completely. Don't let my mistake be the end of everything we built together. I am begging you, one last chance. Not just for me, but for the family we created, for the love that once meant everything to both of us. I will wait for your answer, no matter how long it takes. Even if you never forgive me, I will spend the rest of my life trying to deserve it. During the summit, we were placed at the same table. He greeted me with a charming smile, introduced himself, and for a moment, I felt nothing unusual. But as the evening went on, I noticed the way he looked at me, not like a doctor, not like a professional, but like a man who had already decided he wanted something. Dr. Maria, he said smoothly, handing me a glass of wine. It's rare to meet a woman with both beauty and intelligence. You must drive your husband mad with jealousy. I laughed politely, brushing off his comment. I'm happily married, I replied, showing him my ring. He smiled, unfazed. Happiness is relative, he said. But tell me, "Doctor, how does it feel to be the smartest person in the room?" That was the moment it started. Not with an invitation. Not with a touch. But with a simple sentence that made me feel special, seen, understood in a way I hadn't felt in a long time. After that night, he found excuses to reach out. Calls about health policies, meetings to discuss potential collaborations. At first, it was professional. Then, it became personal. He would send messages late at night, harmless at first. "I hope you had a great day, Dr. Maria. You must be exhausted saving lives all day. Who takes care of you? Your husband is a lucky man, does he know that?" I should have ignored him. I should have told my husband. But I didn't. I told myself it was nothing. That I was just being polite. That it was just talk. But then, he invited me to dinner. "It's just business," he assured me. "A simple meal to discuss healthcare funding." I agreed. That was my second mistake. The dinner was in an exclusive restaurant, the kind reserved for the elite. The conversation was easy, the wine flowed, and before I knew it, I was laughing, feeling light, feeling wanted. "You're an incredible woman, Maria," he said, his hand resting just a little too close to mine. "Tell me, does your husband tell you that enough?" That was the moment I should have left. I should have paid my bill and walked away. But something in me hesitated. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe it was arrogance. Maybe it was the thrill of attention from a man who had conquered so many but was now focused on me. I told myself I was in control. That nothing would happen. But deep down, I knew I was already standing on the edge of a dangerous cliff. And when I fell hard. That night was just the beginning. He continued to pursue me, and little by little, I stopped resisting. A stolen moment here, a secret meeting there. The lies started small, working late, a conference out of town, the girls' night with friends. Then came the first time. The first time I crossed the line I could never uncross. The first time I betrayed my husband, my family, myself. And from there, it spiraled. I told myself it was a mistake. That I would end it. But each time I tried, he pulled me back in. "I can't stop thinking about you. Just one more night. No one has to know. But someone did know. Someone recorded us." And in the end, the truth came crashing down like a thunderstorm. Now, I sit here, alone in my parents' house, exiled from the life I once had, from the man who truly loved me, from the children I may never fully regain. And I ask myself, was it worth it? The answer is no. Baltasar Ngonga didn't love me. He didn't care about me. I was just another conquest to him, another name to add to his long list of broken homes. But my husband? He loved me. He gave me everything. And I threw it all away. Now all I can do is beg. Beg for forgiveness. Beg for a chance to be a mother again. Beg for even the smallest hope that my husband can look at me one day without seeing the woman who betrayed him. But if he never does, if he never forgives me, then I will live with this regret for the rest of my life.